Hey, what's up? It's Teacher Danny. I'm going to teach you the basic follow script. It's pretty derivative of the other scripts that people have shown. For this, I just have my own way of teaching it. I used it in the form of a robot following a remote control. I'm going to teach this to you in three different ways. One, I'm going to teach it for advanced people. If you're advanced, I'll just go over the script real quick. You can see it and then go do your thing. If you're intermediate, I'm going to go over the script again after advanced and explain everything. And then if you're a beginner, I'm going to build this brand new from scratch right here. Everyone will be able to do this. So first things first, let's get to the advanced part where we just look at the script. Okay. The script here, I'm calling it robot follow, and you see it has robot follow 2 because I've been like messing with them. All right. Now, before we even talk about the script, real quick, when you build it, make sure that the front is Z positive and the Y positive is the top. If you don't understand what that means, don't worry. I'm going to get to that in intermediate and beginner. Okay, let's look at, so on update, which means constantly. And again, I'm going to explain everything after we look at it. We're going to set our position to the position of self because it is the robot that's getting this script attached to it. You know, everything has to have a script attached. So the robots gets attached to the script. Destination position is position of target, what it's chasing. Then we're going to set up the direction, which uses normalized destination position minus position. Be honest, I'm not 100% sure what normalized means. I have an idea of what it means, but set destination position. Again, we've already said it once. We're going to set it again to itself plus the direction, which is that normalization calculation, times separation, a variable that we're going to use. I use -1. The separation affects how far away he follows. See, he's about, I don't know, like, half a meter or something from that. And no matter, yeah, he will always be that distance from it. Even if you push it towards him, he'll back up, right? But if I change separation, so let's say make it -4. I'll probably pull way back. Yeah. I need my space. Yeah, I get it. Just kidding. Okay, so that's what separation does. Then we're going to move self to that destination position, and we're going to do it over move time. I could have hard-coded a time in there, but I figured I'd leave it so that way if you use the script multiple times, you could use it on different property panels. You could switch that around. Then we're going to do the rotation, so that way he's looking at it. We're going to set the destination rotation to look towards direction with up 010. And then it's going to rotate itself to that position. And I also put in a look time. So, you could decide how fast he turns his head. And let's go over these variables real quick, okay? So there's the target, the thing it's chasing, position, where the robot is at the time, the destination position, the position of the target, the destination rotation, the rotation to turn to, which is look at the target, the direction, which is just a number that we use to calculate which direction it should move, separation, move time, and look time are all numbers. Okay, so that, and then we'll look at what's plugged into what, right? So for the robot, here, let me just get this guy back down to a normal number. All right. So you see I have the robot open. I set it to robot follow, which is this script. And the only one to plug in is what it's chasing. And it's chasing this wand or remote control. Let's just call it remote. It's got its own script for this, for something else. Okay. So, it just follows the remote. Just take that pill. Boop. It's already in there, but okay. Now let's go over the intermediate part of this. Okay, we'll go over this in painstaking detail. because it's so much fun. Okay, every script has to start with an event. The events is made in this first column. They are what set off the event. This is the hitting of the first domino. What is going to hit that first domino to start whatever this series of steps are in the script? And on update is a domino that gets knocked down every 40th of a second. So basically, on update means continuously do this. So this is doing this several times a second, and more than several. This is doing it about 40 times a second, going through this entire list of commands. And what's the first one? Well, we're going to set a vector to the position of self. And you already know vectors. It's one of the variables we made. And position, I know it says POS. This might be a funny way to write it, but it's position, okay? And since it's the robot that gets attached to the script, it's position of self. Then we're going to set the destination position, which is where it's going. It's not going to go all the way there, but it's going to go close, and we'll see why in a second. So set the destination position to the position of the target. And the target, in this case, is that remote. So we haven't moved or done anything. All we've done is set two vectors. Now we're going to set direction, the third vector, to, and we're going to plug in normalize. Normalize is under operators, under vector math. See, there's vector math. We're going to find normalize. And normalize what you hear. Let me show you what it looks like when you bring it in there. I'm going to pop it in here so it looks like this, normalize. So you bring in normalize, and it can normalize one vector. But we're not going to normalize one vector, we're normalizing two. So go to the top of operators now and get the subtraction sign and put that in there. And then we can copy the position to be the last one and destination position to be the first one. Normalize does some kind of calculation where it takes the three numbers from a vector and arranges them in a way that gives a 1 meter long line in a specific direction. Didn't make sense to me when I said it either. Then we're going to set the destination position to, we've already said it once, but now that we've set the direction, we can set the destination position again to itself, the destination position, plus this calculation of the direction times separation. And let's show how to put that in. So you would say set to, set self, not set self, sorry. Set destination position. So I'll grab this one up here, come down, and I'm going to tap right to copy. So you tap right. So you tap right, and it copies it in there. Then how do we put all of this in here? Well, first thing you do is you put a plus sign under operators. And then in the second of the two slots, in the B slot, you're going to put multiplication. And then destination position is going to be a calculation of this direction that we just set with that normalize, of the direction times what we call separation. Separation is the number, I'm going to lower this. You saw we were messing with the advanced version. Okay, and separation, let me explain what all this means. We're going to set the destination position to, so the destination position again is just a vector. It's just three numbers, an X, a Y, and a Z coordinate. And we're going to set the X, Y, and the Z to whatever it already is, plus the direction times separation. And separation, the lower the number on this separation, and it's a negative number, the further away it'll be. Okay, there's different ways to make that calculation, but that's how I do it. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of this extra one because you only need one. So far we've only done 4 things that required nothing happening, just calculations. Now we're gonna actually move self because it's the robot that's getting this script. Move self, which we're going to get move over time. Okay, not just instant motion, because that kind of like teleports it. You move to over time. And where are we going to move to? Well, all these calculations were not for naught. We would take destination position, drag it in there. So move self to destination position over move time. The default is for it to just say 1 second, but I replaced it with a variable called move time. That way, if you want it to move quicker, you can adjust this time. Then, so now it's going to move to that position within the amount of time you tell it. Now we're going to set the destination rotation, which is also 3 digits, X, Y, and Z, but represents something different. It represents a rotation. And we're going to set destination rotation to what? We're going to set it to look towards direction with up 0, 1, 0. Okay, how do we do that? Set, let's just get a set. Set to, it's at the top of values. And we're setting the destination rotation, right? And we are going to set it to, it says look towards, but we're going to find something that says look at. It's also under operators and vector math. Look at. And look towards what? Well, we're going to use the direction, that calculation we made before. We're going to use it again. So look towards that direction. I'm going to tap right. And with up, we're going to have to put in a generic value of a vector by going to values. Then we just grab vector input and drag it in there, and it defaults to 0, 0, 0. We want to change the middle one to 1. And I'm not 100% sure why, but I know that that works. Set to, and that's it. And now it has a rotation to move to. It's whatever comes out from look towards, okay? So then rotate self to that destination, rotation, rotate to however this is set, and do it over look time. Again, when you choose motion over time. So we're going to do rotate over time. Rotate over time. And I plugged it in with a variable. Okay, so here's the variables that we're going to make. You make the target, which is the object that it's chasing, the remote, the position and the destination position, where it is and where it's going, the destination rotation, which way it's looking, the direction, which way it's going, all right, separation, how far away the object is from what it follows, move time, how quickly it moves, and look time, how quickly it turns its head. Now let's talk about how to plug these pieces together. So now here's the thing that we want to chase something. So we're going to open its properties value, properties menu. See, so we have that, and it has the attached script down here. We were going to choose robot follow to. I got a lot of scripts. Okay, robot follow to, because that's one I just made. And it already has the target in there because I made it, but anyway, if I didn't, then you would open up the target, grab its blue pill, the remote, and plug it in there, and that's all you do. And then it will work, it will follow. When you are creating the object that is going to follow something, we have to make sure that the Z positive is in the front. See, in the back it has Z negative. Z positive has to be in the front, because when we say look towards, or look at, or face forward, or go forward, it considers Z positive to be forward. And it also considers Y positive to be up. So when you create your object, make sure that that's how it's arranged. Otherwise, the script will, go a little haywire. That was it for intermediate. So let's start it from scratch, okay? If we're going to start from scratch, I'm going to teach you step by step. First things first, let's make what is doing the following. You already know I'm doing a robot. All right, so that's going to be our robot. That's what it's going to follow. We're going to have it follow an object. Let's make the object like... Okay, so I'm going to have it follow this. So far, all we've done for this script is make the thing that chases and the thing that gets followed. The thing that leads, okay? This is following, this is the leader. So when we have two objects, see if I grab one object and move it, it will just move. But I want them to be connected. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull the trigger, and see the very tip of the teardrop, when that got hand selected, it's gotta be hand, can't be paintbrush or multiply or lock, it has to be hand. Pull the trigger. See, it switches to this plus or minus. That's for, so that way you can blow up this balloon and it can touch more objects at once, but we'll just keep it at normal. And you're gonna touch the first object, the second object, and now everything is highlighted. You know how normally like you click something and only that object is highlighted with this blue frame? Or if you just touch it without clicking it, it's highlighted with a yellow frame. But, so if I click that, that has a blue frame. If I click this, this has a blue frame. But if I slide, I have the pointer, I go click, click, just run straight through it. Now the whole thing is highlighted. Now I'm not touching the trigger or anything. You see if I tap left, it would go over to paintbrush. Okay, now let's go back to hand. Let's see what happens when I touch this object now, of multiple objects with the pointer. Let's see what happens to this symbol. It's gonna go from paintbrush to like an arrow in a box. That is called grouping. And what that would do is if I tap left, that's the left. Oh, right now it's going to paintbrush again because I'm not touching anything. So when I tap left, this is all going to be grouped together. So remember, it came apart in pieces. I'm going to tap left, let go, and then I'm going to click off so that way the highlight isn't there anymore. So if I just grab the orange one, well, see, even when I just touch it, you can already tell. Okay, you can already tell that it's still in there. Okay, let me see how big this thing is. Good. And we'll make this, we'll change its name. Okay, call it the leader. It's following the leader. And let's go ahead and make it interactive. And grabbable will be the default. We'll just leave it at that. So that way, you can grab it and get the robot to follow you around. All right, so let's get back over to this robot and then we'll start the script. So let's group the robot together. But if you were watching the intermediate part, then you saw that the Z-axis has to be in the front and it has to be the positive side. What does all that mean? Okay, so every single shape has 6 sides. See, this cube, it's kind of obvious. I'm gonna click it so the blue frame will come up. It's kind of obvious like where the frame would be. That makes total sense, but everything is a rectangular prism in its frame. Everything's frame is rectangular prism. So like, for example, look at this mouth, right? This mouth has like a U shape, but again, it has 6 sides. Let me make it a little wider so you can tell, but it has 6 sides. 2 X sides, 2 Y sides, 2 Z sides, okay? And those are coordinates to let it know, which direction to move and where to go and which way's forward and this and that. You can also rotate on them and stuff. Now, so what we want when we make this robot, when we make this follower, we want Z positive to be in the front because we're gonna do parts of the script where we say, look at something or go forward or look up or something. Well, which direction is up? It's not like we tell it. It's not like it can tell, oh, you put these circles here in this shape, this must be the face. It's not that smart yet. Give it an hour. So we have to make sure that Z positive is in the front and Y positive is on top, which it is. Okay, but let me just mix this up real quick. What if it wasn't? So you come over to your shape, you want to check it out, you want to group it together, And then you touch this cube. Oh, but Z positive isn't in the front. Okay. So one way to do it would be to like turn it. Like, okay, which way would Z positive be in the front? Maybe if I turn it this way, now Z positive's in the front. Okay, Z positive's in the front. Great, great. Now what about Y? Is Y positive on top? No, Y negative is on top. Okay, so we gotta arrange it. So now with the cube, it might be a little bit easier to switch around because it won't really affect what things look like. But like if you change the shape of this, you're like, oh, I need Z positive in the front because this U shape has a Z negative in front. If I want Z positive to be in the front, it would have to, let's see, look like this. Okay, Z positive, but I want Y positive to be on top. It would look like this. And now Y positive's on the top for that U shape. And my robot got sad. So what do? We got multiple shapes with multiple orientations. Okay, here's the easiest way to do it. Pull out a shape, okay? Arrange this shape in the way that you need it to be facing, okay? So let's say, and let's make it perfectly even with this guy by snapping it together. And then we put it in the position that we want, which is Z positive in the front, Y positive on top, Z positive in front, Y positive on top. Now when I group them together, remember I group things together by clicking through them, and now it's affecting everything. And then I would group them together. When you start grouping items like this, whatever the first item you click, its orientation will be the orientation of the whole object. So this has Z positive forward, but Y negative on top. So if I select this one first and then select all the eyes, it still has Z positive with Y negative on top. But this one is facing the correct way. So what if I click this one first, which has Z positive in the front and Y positive on top? Click and keep sliding through. Click, 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 click. Touch everything. Now I'm going to let go. And look, I have this whole big group. Now I'm going to let go of the trigger, and then now I'm going to pull it again and touch what I want to remove. And now, if we look at this orientation by touching it, Z positive on the front, and then Y positive on top. We don't even need to use that shape. Okay. And then we would just put that stick in there and then tap left. And now it's grouped together with the correct orientation. Let me show you another way to do that when you're using a cube. Just make sure that the Z positive is in the front, right? And you can figure out how to get Y. So Y is on top, but the Y positive is on the bottom. So here, just click the item. Let's spin it around. Use magnet mode so that way it clicks and you can make it exactly 90 degrees. So I just made it upside down. And now it's Y positive with Z positive in the front. I don't even need that secondary square. So when I group this, now I'm going to group it again. I ungrouped it. I don't know if you noticed. I'm going to group it again. And so I click the one that has the correct orientation and just keep on going to the rest. I touch it with the teardrop. I tap left to group it. And now I have this object. Okay, the script, you could just copy the script, but this orientation and the nuances of it is something that people really need to understand when they're making this stuff. Now let's get to the script. The script is going to be a gizmo. We pull out script. Let's open it up and name it. Call it the following leader. Okay, call it following leader. Now, for this script, every script starts with an event. This event has a default in it. When world is started, every time you open a script, it'll say that. So we're just gonna grab it and then tap down to just remove it. We're just not going to use it for this time. Okay, the event we're going to have is an automatic event. We're not going to wait for a person to like do something. We're just going to have this event just happen constantly the whole time the game is running. And that is called onUpdate. OnUpdate, whatever commands we nest under onUpdate is going to happen every 40th of a second. So 40 times a second, it's going to go through all these things. And whatever is under there, it's going to do that calculation and those tasks every 40th of a second. So constantly, continuously. So what do we want to happen continuously? Well, first things first, we want to set the destinations. Okay, so let's make a new variable. We'll go over to, variables. And here's how we make a variable. First, you got to name it. The first one we're going to name is position. We are going to change the type to vector. Okay. It's not going to be a list. We're not going to mess with that button. And then just confirm, and that's it. All vectors are green, and the default is 0, 0, 0. But we're going to change that. Now we're going to put another variable, and this will be the destination position. Again, it's a vector, not a list, and confirm it. So let's just start with those two, and then we'll get to the rest. So on update, the first thing we want to do is we want to set the values of these. So we'll go to values. We're going to click set to, setting values. That makes sense, right? What do we want to set? That variable that we made, because, it just kind of has its generic value. We want to grab it. So grab position and put it in for variable, and I just let go. And now what are we going to switch the variable to? We're going to switch it to the position of self. You could set this to the position of anything, a box over there, a square over there, but we are going to set the position to the position of itself, because the robot is going to be this self. And there's no variable for self. What we do is we go over to values and we use the generic value input, and we grab self and drag it in there, but it's not going to work because you're saying set the position, which is a vector, which is 3 numbers. You're saying set that position to whatever this thing is, and it's blue, so it's an object. You can't set a position to an object. An object has many characteristics, one of them being its position, but you're not saying switch it to the position of self. This is saying switch it to self. Switch this 3 numbers to an object. No, can't do that. So let's get rid of self. We need to move to the position of self. So we're going to go to operators, go about halfway down to transform, object transform. And we're going to put in position of object and then put that in the value. Now it still wants an object, but whatever object we put in here, this code right here, position of, will draw out the 3 numbers that make up this object's position. So let's go to self. Go to values, grab self and bring it in. The position of self. See, let me make a little copy of this. Before, this is what I had. See how it has the X there? It doesn't like it. You can't set a position to self. It's an incorrect type for set. Expected a vector, but returned an object. No. So set position, whatever this variable is, we're going to set it to the position of self. So if it's, position is, you can look at its attributes. That's its position, 54, 197, 317, 3117. Position of self is equivalent to those 3 numbers. That's all you're going to get from this information. It doesn't know anything else about self. It doesn't know, its rotation or color or size or anything. It only knows the position because we're using position of. Now let's set the destination position. Think about how we would set that. So we get the set to. Where do we get that from? Right? We get that from values. This is like Dora the Explorer for adults. Do you see the set to? All right, so we're going to go to values, grab set to. And what do we want to set? We want to set our destination position now. So our destination position vector, we're going to drag that over. And what are we going to switch it to? We're going to switch it to the position of the target or whatever it's chasing. Let's call it the leader this time. So it's going to have a leader. The leader is going to be this remote control. But, you know, it just kind of makes it easier to remember. Follow the leader. So I'm going to make a variable called leader. The type is going to be object. And we're going to connect this later so that way it knows which object is the leader. So let's confirm it. Okay. So see, this one is blue, doesn't have any numbers there. That's because it's an object. So are we going to just pop leader in there? Oh, what's the problem? Why can't we just go? Why can't we set this these three numbers to leader? Because it's an object. So what do we need? We need position of self or position of the object. So again, object transform, position of object, position of, and we're going to say the target, or oh, in this case, it's leader. There we go. No errors. Set destination position. Now we're going to set something called direction. And this one is a little bit nuanced in what it does and how it's used. And I don't understand it completely. Direction. It's going to be a vector. And confirm. Now we're going to set direction. So let me go set to. Okay. You already know what I'm going to go grab, right? I'm going to go grab direction. Now, what are we going to set it to? This is going to be something unique. We're going to use a calculation called normalize. Normalize is going to be under operators. It's going to be under vector math. See? So let's start at the top. You go about 2/3 of the way down, I think. And it says normalize. Where'd it go? Oh. Normalize. So you just 4 under, 5 under vector math. So I'm going to grab normalize and put it in there. Normalize will take 3 numbers and calculate them together to come up with a 1 meter line in a specific direction. I probably am wrong about that. Whatever. Let's just, figure this out. Okay, so we put in normalize. Normalize what? We could put in a vector in there, but we're going to put in 2 vectors by calculating together. So let's put we're going to subtract. Let's put the subtraction symbol in there. We're going to go again over to operators, go to the top, get the subtraction and put it in there. Now, whatever these 2 numbers subtract to, it will be normalized, and that will be the direction. So what do we want to normalize? It's going to be the destination position. Now look, you see how I point at it and then I pull the trigger and now it's appearing here? That's because that to let me know which one is selected. So I drag over here, and if I were to let go to move it there, yeah, it goes there, but now it erased from where it was. So let me put it back. Let me instead copy it. So this time again, I'm going to pull the trigger, but I'm going to hold on and not let go. I got it. I go to where the pill is going to be placed. So see, the A is getting, A oval right there is getting highlighted. Not highlighted, highlighted, not highlighted. I'm going to go there and tap right on the stick. Okay, so let's do that again. I just erased it. So I grab it. Instead of letting go and just dropping it in there, I tap right on my stick. See, I tap right. Boop. And then it puts it in there. So it makes a duplicate. And we're going to destination position minus position. Grab it, drag it, tap right. Now that is what the direction is. So far we've only done 3 calculations. And again, these 3 calculations can be done every 40th of a second. Now we are going to set the destination position again, which sounds interesting, but you'll see why. Or maybe it doesn't sound that interesting. It's so interesting the way we set these destination positions nowadays. Oh. All right, so set to. We're going to set destination position. So let's go ahead and just steal it there again. We're going to set the destination position. We're going to set the destination position to another calculation. And the way we're going to come up with this calculation is we're going to add the destination position to something that gets multiplied. So you'll see what I mean. So you have destination position. Its value is going to be, let's put in a plus sign there. Go to operators, go to the very top, plus. In the second of these two, the B oval, we're going to put multiplication. So something in A is going to get added to whatever B multiplies to. So for computers, you use an asterisk for multiplication. So again, it's the plus first and then push in the multiplication. So we're going to set destination position to itself plus whatever the direction is times the separation. This is a number called separation. Remember I told you normalize makes a 1 meter line in a specific direction. So this is the location of that line, and we want to decide how many multiples of that 1 meter line do we want the object to follow, the follower to follow the leader. How far do we want that space? So we're going to use a number here, and we're going to go get a variable. We're going to make a new variable, and this one's going to be number. We'll call it separation. And I know I spelled it wrong. Did I spell it wrong? The type is number, so it's already at number. So we click default to find this, but it's already at number. And then we'll just click confirm and see numbers are yellow. Its default is going to be 0, but we're going to change that. Okay, so come on. So direction times separation. And we're going to go back and we're going to change the default value of this separation. Let's set it to -1. Remember I told you the direction is a 1 meter line. So however far you want them apart. Anyway, so just use negative numbers. And the greater the negative number. All right. Now that says -1, we're... you can adjust it and mess with it. That's just a good number to start with, -1. Now, let's actually do something. Let's actually move. So we did a bunch of calculations. We're going to move by going to motion, click up a motion, and we're not going to choose instant motion because that would just be from one frame to the next. Just like milliseconds, it would just move. So it looked like it was teleported. So we're going to go down to motion over time, and we're going to say move to over time, not by. 2, and we're not going to go over the difference right now. So what are we going to move? We're going to move itself, because remember, it's the robot that gets the script, and we're going to move it to, this is a vector, but this is somewhere in the center of the map. We don't want to just send it to this specific coordinates. We want to send it to wherever that destination position is. That's where it's going. All these calculations were just to tell this guy where to go. And how fast do we want to get there? Well, if we take 1 second to get there, it'll go whatever speed it has to do to make it to places within a second. But if you want it to move faster, you would give it less time to get there. So you would put a lower number in here. But what I'm going to do is I make a variable for that. So that way you'll be able to change it easier. And I'm going to show you in a second. Let's make the variable first. Okay. And we'll call this move speed. Move. I know I called it something else in the other one, but move speed, which is the speed that it moves. And it's going to be also a number. So we leave it at number. We just click confirm. I'm going to drag in the move speed. And its default is 0. So if we move somewhere in 0 seconds, that's instant. So let's change move speed to 0.5. Okay, just because I know that's a good speed, you know, but you can change it. All right, move speed. I'm gonna drag that in. Oh, I already did. Over move speed. Real quick, let's take a pause to show you why I use these variables instead of just putting in numbers. Let's use one of the other robots as an example. Let's say I have multiple robots. But they're all running off the same robot follows script. So see, this robot has the robot follow script. See the script, they can all follow the script. It's a script. It's like actors in a movie. Everybody can use the exact same script and just say and do what's on the script. You know, I mean, so scripts are reusable, but this guy's script, here's all the numbers that we put in. Remember we put in, you know, we said it says look time, move time, which we call speed. Remember separation? We set that at a default -1. Let's look at it again. We put the separation in there, and we defaulted it to -1. So what happens when the object gets the script, which in this case is the robot follows script, you know, it says all these numbers. Separation is -1. Well, what if I want this one to stay further away than the other ones? This one I could change the number. Now this guy, you know, he stays a little bit further away. And for whatever reason, I don't know what reasons, you know, I just want to make this very customizable. You know, and then this guy, I want this guy to be even closer. Like I can't, he's so close to it, I can't even reach it. He's like engulfed it. Let me see. So wherever I go, he's gonna go right inside because his separation is very low. And maybe that's something you're gonna wanna do, you know? So that is the point of using variables instead of hard-coded numbers in there. You know what, sorry guys, it's been real, but take it up space. All right, so move self, and again, I could have showed you examples about move speed and how to adjust that. Just play with it. Move self to the destination position over move speed. Now we're going to do the rotate part. Okay, so we moved. That's it. It moved to where it had to and the amount of time it had. Now let's set the rotation destination. Okay, so set what? The rotation. Let's go to variables. And we'll make a new variable. We'll call it rotation. I just want to call it rotation, but rotation is a word that's already used for stuff. So destination. So I don't want to be redundant. Okay, now when we check type, we click number and then we go down to rotation. It's not vector, it's not object, it's not number, it's rotation. And rotations are going to be red with 3 numbers. All right, and now we're going to set this rotation. This is going to be the rotation that the follower takes, because the follower has to rotate their head to face the object. Now, what are we going to set it to? We have to, now it can only be set to another rotation. Well, here's something that calculates a rotation. It's called look at. If we go over to operators, I think it's under vector math, right? Look at. So we're going to set destination to look at. Look at returns a rotation, returns 3 numbers. So that will work when we pull it in. So when you put these 2 in, I'm going to show you exactly what to put in here. We're going to look towards the direction, okay? Which is, I know that's a vector, but this is going to calculate it all into a rotation. So looking towards the direction. And again, this is why Z positive had to be in the front, because look towards means point the Z at. Look towards direction with up, and we're just going to use a generic vector in there from values. down. Let's get a vector input and drag it in there. And we're going to set the y axis to 1. So look towards direction with up 0, 1, 0. I'm not sure why it's 0, 1, 0. All right, now that we've set this destination rotation, let's go ahead and rotate. So we're going to go back to motion. We're going to go down to motion over time. And again, we're going to rotate 2. Not rotate by, we're going to rotate 2. And we're going to rotate itself, so that'll stay, to this destination. I'm going to grab it, drag it over this. Even though there's nothing in there, if I drag it over there and tap right, it will take it over. And then I could leave it. It rotates over 1 second. But I'm going to make a variable for that. And we'll call that rotate speed. And if you're not going to need all this customization, you can hard code this stuff in. So rotate speed is also going to be a number. And over rotate speed. So that's how fast it's going to rotate. And again, we're going to change this. I like 0.2 for this one. And again, mess with these to see how it like it. Okay. So now when you finish the script, you go to the object that's going to attach itself to that script. So let's go to this object. We're going to tap up. And see, it says entity group. Before it had like cube and sphere and half tube as the names of the objects. But when we grouped them together, it becomes an entity group. Let me just show you real quick. So all right, here's, 2 little objects. The sphere, if I look at the name of it, there's its window, sphere. And this cone, its name is cone. Okay? Now I'm gonna group them together and make them one object by tapping left while touching it. It's now grouped. Now, if I look at the name of it, it's going to say entity group, just like that other one does. So what I like to do is rename them. And I'll call this guy follow bot. That's what he does. Now, we're going to attach the script to him. Go all the way to the bottom. You see just of this entity group, which is now called follow bot. Go to the very bottom, click attach script, and we're going to scroll down to the script we're using, which is what? Following leader. Now I have a few scripts. Following leader. And there's all the variables that we put in before. See, they match up. The rotate speed. See, there's rotate speed, all the way down, to position. And all these match. All these inputs match. See, you can change these things here if you want to change the separation and make the object be further away. Now, see here it says empty. So this one is still waiting on a variable. And what we're going to do is we're going to plug in the variable from that is going to represent leader. And remember, we made leader be the object we're chasing. Yes, the object we're chasing. And that's that when we say position of leader, we're saying the position of whatever it's chasing. So what is supposed to be the leader of this? It's going to be this guy. So we'll open it up. Oh, it says entity group. Oh, it doesn't because we already changed the name of it. Leader. So I'm going to grab leader. And they happen to have the same name, but they don't have to have the same name. But I just do it like that because it's just so much simpler. But whatever, like for example, if we just call this remote again, it would still work. Yep. See, I even spelled remote wrong. And let's see. And now when we look at it, it says leader. What's the leader? Remote, because that's what we named this object, remote or whatever. All right, now it's working. Back up. Now, what I'm going to do next in the next tutorial is I'll show you how to use this follow script. But I'll also teach you how to attach a homing device to it. So here I see it says target player. I'm going to switch it to me. It's set to teacher Danny. I have it's making a sound too. I have it on low because it was really annoying me while I was building. But you see it's beeping really fast because I'm close to it. And the further I am from it, the slower it'll beep. Until eventually it just stops. And the closer I get, the faster it beeps. And I'll teach you how to make that in the next script. That's actually a Teacher Danny original. If anybody has questions, put it in my Facebook, YouTube. So Gen X. If anybody has questions, put it in the YouTube. I'm going to do my best to respond. We could just come into the shop, and we could run a little class. I'll teach people how to do this stuff. I'm not asking for money. I'm begging for it. No, I'm just kidding. No, for real. I just want to come in here and teach people and show people. I'm trying to gain experience on teaching in Horizon, and I'm really looking forward to it. Take advantage. Thank you very much. Teacher Danny out.